Our lives can change in an instant. The greatest thing to ever happen to us can sometimes feel like the worst thing as it's happening. The greatest thing to ever happen to me is no different. In the weeks leading up to my 21st birthday, I began to notice some worrying changes to my health. I remember feeling more and more tired. I felt as if I needed to rest when doing activities I ordinarily wouldn't need to. I remember my boss telling me I looked pale, and my friends and family would tell me the same. The more you hear things like that, the more you listen, and the scarier it gets. After a while, I began to notice that something was really wrong, so I went to a local pharmacy to check my pulse with a blood pressure cuff. My vitals were all normal, but the next day, an enormous bruise encircled my arm, right where the blood pressure cuff had been. I couldn't understand what was happening to me, and without insurance, I didn't know what to do. I woke up one day with the intention of going to work, but I quickly realized this was going to be impossible. I couldn't walk 6 steps without passing out. So I called out of work and then called my mom to drive me to the emergency room. They wheeled me inside, took a blood sample, and then gave me the news that would change my life forever. On October 3rd, 2011, I was diagnosed with cancer, leukemia. I'll never be able to explain the feeling I felt when they uttered those words. But I'm here today to tell you that getting cancer was the best thing to ever happen to me. 2 days after my diagnosis, Apple CEO Steve Jobs passed away from pancreatic cancer. I remember sitting on my hospital bed and watching a documentary about his life, and I was amazed to see all of the wonderful things he did for the world, the innovations his company set into motion, and how he helped push humanity forward. I admired that, and I aspired to be like that. So after the documentary aired, and a few moments of reflection, I promised myself that if I was going to somehow survive, I was going to do something. I didn't know what, but I promised myself that if I was going to live, I would work for the rest of my life to make this world as great as I believe it can be. A few days passed, and I figured it's probably time to break the news to my friends. And as a millennial, guess what? I chose Facebook. The reaction I got, I never expected. People are so caring and show so much support. People I hadn't talked to in years called me and messaged me, saying if there's anything they could do to help, for me to just ask. I told some of my friends how I didn't have insurance, and they began to find ways to help me. A friend of my sister got her sorority sisters together to make and sell bracelets at their college. And this helped me so much, but what I found so fascinating about this is that these people didn't know me. All they knew is someone needed help. And because of Facebook and the human need to connect, they found a cause worth supporting. My cause. After some time went on, enough people had shared my Facebook post that basically my whole town knew what was happening to me, and people all over were trying to find ways to help me. A friend of my brother got local bands together to organize a concert open to the entire community. And in the course of 2 days, they raised over $2,000 to help me pay for my medical bills. And this was wonderful, and it helped. But again, think about this. These people had never met me before in their lives. All they knew is someone in their community needed help. And so they did. To me, this says there's a hidden power in our communities, an untapped resource just begging to be released. If only we could get this resource to the people who need it most. After some time, it was pretty evident that chemotherapy wasn't working, and I faced a bone marrow transplant. Luckily, I have a lot of siblings. But one after the other were tested and were coming up negative as a match. And it got down to my older brother. At this point, I really thought this was going to be the end for me. But I was wrong. My brother was not only a match, he was an 100% match. I got my life back. I survived. But things were different. I stopped seeing barriers, and I realized that if I can take chemotherapy biopsies, surgeries. There's nothing I can't do. Someone once told me, you never know how strong you are until being strong is all you have. I changed. I got into school and I resumed my life. But I never forgot how my community helped me. And I never for a second forgot the promise I made myself the day Steve Jobs passed away. They say there's 6 degrees of separation between any two people on the planet, and that's true. And all that means is between you and anyone else, there are at most 6 other people between you and them, a friend of a friend of a friend. The idea that we're all separated by 6 people first comes from a short story written in 1929. It was popularized by the play 6 Degrees of Separation by John Guare in the 90s, and it was actually proven by a Columbia University professor in 2001. And to see how a simple Facebook post can reach so many people, it was proven to me. I bring this up because during my time in college, I began to formulate an idea. What if there weren't 6 degrees of separation between us? What if there were 0? And what if we could digitize how my community helped me? I met Dominic Rega in my entrepreneurship class, and we began developing an application that would be capable of doing just that. We asked ourselves, what if people could post a status, not just to their friends, but to everyone within a 10-mile radius? What if we could change the way we meet people by having our city right in our pocket? We were captivated by the possibilities of such an app, and so we built it, and we named it BRITE. You can think of BRITE as community networking, an open social media not focused on just a friends list, but on your entire city. We want to eliminate the segregation created by our social circles and create truly connected communities. If I had had BRITE when I was sick, I wouldn't have had to wait for friends of friends to find out. With one simple post, everyone within a 10-mile radius would have known at once, and I could have gotten the help that I needed much faster. My dream is that this application will help others in the way that I was helped by my community. I believe all of us have the power to make a difference in the world. Steve Jobs once said, "The world was created by people no smarter than you. You can change it." And those people crazy enough to believe they can change the world are the ones that do. Personally, I don't think social media is good or evil. I think it's how we use it that matters most. I survived one of the worst things that can happen to a person, but I lived because of people. Like I said, cancer was the best thing to ever happen to me because it taught me that a life connected to others is the happiest life a person can live. And in this age of social media, connecting with others is the brightest thing a person can do. So get out there, connect, share, and make a difference. Thank you.